mentioned another person's name there, now who Chris has been obviously paired against and touted that he will be fighting. We now know that Conor Benn is fighting. The date escapes me, actually. Where is it?
It's the 3rd of February.
3rd of February.
Same card as Johnny Fisher on his US debut as well.
There you go. So Conor Benn.
I know, I've lost it as well. It's the way Simeon has put together our running order today.
Don't blame the tools.
Far too many pages, and it's not even printed double-sided.
That's my own fault.
He's not happy. Look at him. He's looking at me. He's not even grinning, and he smiles all the time. It was Joe. It was Joe Carter, our assistant producer, and he's gone.
Well, anyway, right? Regarding the Conor Benn situation, what is the latest on this? Because it seems to have gone... Listen, the fight's been booked. It seemed to be quickly put out there by Matchroom and his management team in the midst of the build-up to December 23rd. I think they put this out on the Friday. Everybody's talking Joshua. They slipped this under the radar, so it didn't really get the bite that everybody got. Everybody knows the situation with Conor Benn and what has happened to him over the last couple of years and where he currently stands with the British Boxing Board of Control and UK anti-doping. He can't fight here in the UK at the moment, so he's fighting over in the States. What's the latest?
Well, we're waiting for the hearing to take place. I mean, I think it will have taken place by the time he fights on February the 3rd, Ed.
Okay.
As you say, it's against Peter Dobson. We expect it to be another strong performance from Conor Benn. It's in Las Vegas on a fight that Johnny Fisher, I don't know who Johnny Fisher's opponent will be. Austin Williams and Connor Coyle fight for the IBF North American WBA and AB middleweight titles on that card as well. It's a small... I think it's in the Cosmopolitan, isn't it?
Yeah.
We know that. It's a little club, isn't it? It's a brilliant
fantastic area.
Oh, it's a fantastic little club to have a fight. I wanted to go, but I think we're somewhere else on the night. I think we're going to be at Dan Aziz and Joshua Boazzi on the night. I've got a feeling talkSPORT might even be there that night. So that's going to be a big event. Look, the hearing, in my view, based on how it's going to play out on jurisdiction, the most likely outcome, in my view, is that he's going to win his case, and he'll be able to get back into action as a British licensee. The problem for him is, and he has revealed things like people that weren't allowed to spar with him, according to him, otherwise they'd lose their licenses by the British Boxing Board of Control. Yeah. He's also revealed in the last few days that that document wasn't 270 pages, it was 33. He's very recalcitrant on his attitude towards people. I think he's very regretful of the way the whole thing played out. It's been a very tough 2 years for him at the end of the day. And I imagine he's learnt an enormous amount. The sense that I'm getting is that they will not lose the appeal. Conor Benn and his team, Eddie Hearn obviously is his promoter, and I think they'll try and move on this year. He wants world titles this year. He's lost 2 years. He doesn't want to. I think he's got. He's been out for almost 2 years.
It didn't need to be this situation, though, did it?
No, I think you're kind of alluding to there. I think he's. Well, he has said, I'm prepared to spend every penny I've got to prove that I'm innocent. Mm-hmm. He's still holding very strongly to his innocence. He's still very emotional character, Conor. Mm. And I really appreciate him on Friday talking to me about the microphone incident at the Anthony Joshua. I just was regretful for him rather than for anything happening with me that night. I just wish him well this year. But the only thing we've ever done is asked to get the testing system and the hearing system in place and transparent, because we're looking at an inherently dangerous sport. And this story became a bigger story than Conor in the end. But unfortunately, he's been in the middle of it. I think he'll win his appeal. I think the board and UKAD are most likely to lose their appeal, because I don't think they've got strong grounds on jurisdiction, and I think he will be back boxing.
Do you think that...
But what we need is a uniform testing system. That's the key to this.
Listen, there has to be big learnings.
Global, universal, uniform testing system, or an agreement from every single testing body that they're all united and aligned, that there's no self-interest from the different bodies.
No, listen, the whole thing's been a mess from start to finish. Navigating systems, playing loopholes, playing this, that and the other has not been good for anybody, and it's not reflected well on Conor Benn. It's not reflected well on the team that are in and around him. And as you're alluding to there, I think every single fight fan, we and this is going to sound bad, we are used to performance-enhancing drug test failures in this sport. But at the end of the day, there is a process that you go through. You make a mistake, you go through the process, you receive your punishment, you move on. People forgive, they forget, and they move people on. And I think that's always been everybody's attitude towards the Conor Benn situation. The problem has been is the reluctance to, from the outside, the reluctance to go through a system that is there for people to be able to go through, of which then obviously creates an attitude.
I think he's got enormous regret over the way the process played out. I think, you know, that there were definitely ill-advised moves. And, you know, it's very... Look, the toughest person this process has played out on is him. Because at the end of the day, it's he that suffered. No one else has suffered.
But he's the one that obviously failed the test.
No, absolutely. What I'm saying is, you just said it yourself. It could have been made easier.
Absolutely.
The whole process could have been made easier.
Absolutely.
And I think he reflects that at the moment. And I think if he'd had it over again, he would have just gone through exactly what you're saying. Go through the process. Don't feel emotional and at war with people over things.
Yeah.
Don't listen to the trolls. You know, don't live on social media. Ignore that cesspit because it's there. Whatever it is, whatever subject it is, people are going to bring vitriol and bile to scenarios like that, you know? Like you just said, there's plenty of other very, very big names in the sport who've had exactly the same things happen, you know, and they've had to go through it and they come back again, you know, and they're forgiven those things, whether they've done it or not, whether they're innocent or whether there's a reason.
Here's one for you, and obviously he's fighting in America because he's allowed to. He's got, I believe he's got an American State Athletic Commission license, of which is allowing him. He's already had one during this process, and now he's having another one out there. Should he be doing that?
I think he's got to fight and earn money. I think he's used up so much money in this process that, you know, he's barely had a fight for 2 years. He was on the cusp of probably earning a few £1 million for that fight with Chris Eubank and the chance to etch his name into British boxing history. So it's an enormous fall from grace in lots of ways, and that hubris will have taken its toll on him. And I think what else is he going to do? He doesn't know anything else. You know, that's the problem. So should he be fighting in another jurisdiction? Technically, probably not. But there isn't anything to stop him doing that. And that is the route that he and his team and Eddie Hearn and Tony Sims have taken. You know, and I think if the board... I suspect if the board lose their appeal and UKAD lose their appeal, that there will then be, you know, there will be approaches to the board say, look, what about us now? We've won our case, or you haven't won your case. What about restraint of trade? Where's my licence? Because clearly, once the licence is regained, if he does regain it, rightly or wrongly, in this process, not rightly or wrongly over Conor Benn, but in the process of the way that these things play out, this case, the fights for him are here. He's not a big name in the States.
The value's in the UK.
Exactly, and there are some enormous fights here in the UK for him. Enormous. He's a big name. He was on the way to stardom, true stardom in the Matchroom stable. He was the guy starting to take up all the big space outside the heavyweights or Anthony Joshua. So in many ways, you know, once he gets his... I think the reason that Chris Eubank Jr. doesn't want to fight him is because he wants to fight under British jurisdiction, and he's probably waiting for that as well. You know? Yeah,
listen, the money's here for that fight.
It's a huge
the money's
fight.
here in the UK. I think every single person that is a boxing fan, whether you are a Conor Benn fan or not, it doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, I think everybody wants a line drawn underneath this situation, whether you're satisfied with the result or not. You just want it a line so that everybody can move forward. The fighter and the whole industry as well, because it's just been a horrible dark shadow.
But I think what he wants to do as well, he wants transparency to come out and the report to come out after this is over. And I think it would be great if we could see the report and see this process, because I think it will help him regain the faith of people that have doubted him.
Absolutely.